Hello everyone. We are the students of class 80 of K.V.WALTAIR school are going to present a skit before you on a comet which is discovered by an amateur scientist Datta. Datta, an amateur scientist, can't stay away from the near-eye Divya-Chakshu for long. It was a moonless night in December. A burst of cool breeze from the window was enough to disturb the sleep of Indrani Devi. Half awake, she felt for the adjoining pillow. Although she knew the answer, Datta was not there.
So he has gone to hobnob with that wretched Divya. At least he might have bothered to close the door. Did not his doctor tell him to take special precautions against the cold? But he would not remember, even it was lying on his bedside chair. How would he when Divya has put a spell on him?
She took the sweater and saw both huddled together, eye to eye. To Indrani Devi, the telescope was like a designing woman who had ensnared her husband. So she only called that as Divya.
Here, put on the sweater, or do you want Nabin Babu to order bed rest tomorrow?
You know about me very well. My secret ambition is to find a comet, and I am very sure that my Divya will help me for this.
Like every amateur astronomer, Datta had a secret ambition that he would one day discover a new comet. For comets can be new, coming as they do from the remote corners of the solar system. Like planets, comets also orbit round the sun, but their orbits are highly eccentric. So once in a while, a comet comes close to the sun. It has a longish tail that it lit brilliantly by the sunlight, and then it recedes into darkness, not to be seen again for years or for centuries.
Discovered a new comet. Sri Manoj Datta, a resident on the northern outskirts of Kolkata, has claimed to have discovered a new comet. He has seen the comet on the last 2 nights and has informed the India Institute of Physics (ITA) at Bengaluru of the whereabouts. The ITA runs a 90 inches telescope, the biggest in Asia, at Kavalur. If it confirmed Datta's finding, it will be the high point in his lifelong career as amateur astronomer. Datta, as he is affectionately that the comet would be clearly visible to the naked eye in the next few months. He gives all credit for his discovery to his 8-inch telescope, which he called Divya.
Thereafter, it took just 1 week for Comet Datta to be recognized and so named. For the IIA confirmed the findings and communicated it worldwide, and according to the accepted practice, the new comet was named after its discoverer.
I almost hadn't discovered this comet. There are so many functions and receptions to attend for me.
I wish the same, but not for the same reason.
May I ask you why you wish that I hadn't discovered this comet?
Comets bring evil luck, and I wish the good man like you were not associated with the discovery of the one.
I see that even an MA degree hasn't cured you of your superstitions. There is nothing harmful about them. Well, you will soon see that the comet of mine passes harmlessly by causing no anxiety to no one.
Hi Taylor. Letter was given by Dr. Koshi. One check this.
Hey, it should not be published at all. The effect will be catastrophic.
Okay, John, it is good that I asked you before publishing.
A British scientist writes a paper based on Datta's discovery. In the spacious dining hall of King's College, Cambridge, the butler whispered deferentially in the provost's ears and handed him an envelope on a silver tray. The provost beckoned James and passed on the envelope saying, "It seems you are wanted urgently in your room." As he made his way towards the beautiful building, James opened the envelope. It contained a brief note.
Dear Dr. Fawcett, the bearer of this note has been instructed to bring you to my office in London tonight. Please come without delay. I am making arrangements for your overnight stay in London. I regret the inconvenience caused to you and request you to keep your visit strictly confidential. Believe me, it's absolutely essential. Yours sincerely, John Macpherson.
The bowler-hatted man near the mantelpiece greeted him as James entered his sitting.
I am Johnson, sir, security officer at Whitehall. I presume you know why I am here.
To the extent that is conveyed in this note,
Johnson's Ford Cortina brought them to Whitehall in less than 90 minutes. It took them another 10 minutes to reach the chambers of John Macpherson. Having introduced James to Sir John, the quiet but efficient Johnson slipped out.
Dr. Fawcett, my apologies for this imposition on your time. Without any delay, let me come to the point right now.
Why, it is my paper to nature. How do you get this ocean manuscript?
Taylor, the editor of the Nature, is a friend of mine.
I asked the Nature to publish it without delay since it is very important.
I agree that it is important. So important that it should never be published.
James would have never tolerated aspersions on the accuracy of his work or the implied order that it must be suppressed. But he knew Sir John to be a respected scientist and was willing to hear him out.
Please do not misunderstand me, Dr. Fawcett. I met the tailor at lunch in the club where he showed me a paper. Before sending it to a professional referee, I immediately realized that your result has profound implications if it is correct.
Let me assure you, sir, that it is correct.
Do you realize what will happen if Comet Delta collides with the Earth? As you predict, it will.
The effects will be catastrophic. That's why I have taken extra care to verify my calculations.
What are those rare circumstances?
Well, it may collide with some asteroid before reaching here, or it may split up when near the sun, or it might evaporate.
But one can't count on these fortuitous circumstances. We have proceeded on the assumption that Comet Delta will collide with the Earth. Cometary collisions are expected to occur once in 10 million years. But as we know, the next one will occur in a year.
10 months to be precise.
Thank you for the correction. We only have 10 months of time for the entire survival of living species on the Earth. Don't you think that we should do something to stop all this?
How? May I ask, can we prevent this natural catastrophe?
I don't know, but we don't have any other option but to try. I think we need more than 2 brains to handle this situation. It is essential to call an urgent meeting of experts all over the world to think of a countermeasure and, of course, in total secrecy. Think of the panic in the world if this dreadful news leaks out. I will exert all my influence with my friends in other countries to exercise a similar restraint for a while.
For how long?
Let us spend some time now to plan the details of this international conference. Shall we call it in a week's time here?
Okay.
By the time they finished their deliberations and Sir John dropped him at his hotel of Regent Street, it was 1 a.m. There was hardly any crowd on the street, but when James looked up from his window, a star-studded night sky greeted him. Somewhere amongst these stars was Comet Delta heading for a collision with the Earth. It was hard to believe the calamity of the future on such a peaceful night. For a moment, James wondered if he had done his sums right. Experts dismissed defensive measures like living in underground bunkers. It was simply not a practical proposition. So the only course was to take offensive action. Comet Datta could be marginally deflected from its path by giving it a push.
The loss of life and property would not be total.
Having decided that some actions are needed, what form it should take?
The experts calculated that the bulk of destructive nuclear power available on the Earth would be needed to achieve this mammoth task. A gigantic nuclear explosion, suitably placed, suitably directed, and suitably timed, could do the trick. This could be done by placing the nuclear payload in a spaceship, sending it to intercept the approaching comet, and detonating it by remote control. Success or failure, secrecy must be preserved. Finally, a timetable was drawn up for the operation, which was codenamed Project Light Brigade. The important dates in it were
Dispatch the spacecraft with the payload unless by then the comet is already destroyed by the natural process or has changed its path due to the unforeseen feature. November 15, rendezvous with the comet and detonation of the payload. November 15, if the experiment failed, this was the day the comet would hit the Earth. If it succeeds, this was the day the comet would pass by at a near but safe distance.
Experiment depended on how massive the comet was.
Estimate, everybody hoped that it was not very massive.
Do you think we will succeed?
Mr. Datta, I will give you an honest answer. I am not going to buy any Christmas present till December 15.
Datta toured the British Isles for 2 weeks after the conference, and he had a pleasant time visiting observatories and exchanging views with amateur as well as professional astronomers. On his return, he was greeted by the inevitable vast crowd of friends, social leaders, students, and the usual hangers-on. Loaded with garlands and bombarded by questions from the press, he somehow made his way to the waiting car.
I have arranged a yajna and called priests to bless you.
But why? Just because I left the shores of India? You know it is no longer a taboo. And in any case, you know my views on these meaningless rituals.
We all have been very disturbed since you discovered the comet. Guruji recommended a Shakti Yajna to pacify the wild spirit behind the comet. We all are waiting for you to perform the Yajna.
May I know what specific advantage is there in this ceremony?
The comet you have discovered will not cause any ill effects on the earth.
You know that this is all superstitions. All this, of course, fatal on my part to explain you. And likes of you never even read the elementary books of science.
But our wise forefather recommended such yajnas.
Since his return from London, Datta was in regular correspondence with Sir John Macpherson. Their friendship had grown out of their appreciation of each other's virtues. Sir John admired Datta's scientific outlook, while the latter admired the former's discipline and efficiency. Their correspondence never mentioned the Project Light Brigade, although once in a while Sir John would hint at its progress in a subtle manner that Datta would understand.
The charge of Flight Brigade has begun. Let us hope for the best, so the spacecraft will be launched on time.
But will it achieve renditions in time? And at the right place, will the remote control determination works? What if the nuclear gigantic fail to find?
Datta could not share his anxieties with anyone around him. He had to participate in and outwardly enjoy the puja ceremonies, the Diwali celebrations, and other festivals. His sole daytime relaxation was in the company of Koka, his 8-year-old grandson, and of course at night looking through Divya. He was regularly monitoring the comet, now clearly visible even to the naked eye. On November 18, a special messenger on a scooter from the British Council brought in an urgent telex message for him. The telex operator in Calcutta had wondered what was so special about it to make it so urgent. But on reading it, Datta lost all his lethargy and rushed to his favorite rasgulla shop. The message read,
I am confident now on buying Christmas present on December 15.
On December 15, Comet Datta came closest to the Earth at a distance of 80,000 kilometers. Millions saw it and admired it. Only a handful knew how close they had come to the total annihilation. When the comet had gone far away and was seen no more, Datta felt it safe to make the following comment to his wife.
Now that the comet came and went, are you satisfied that no major disaster took place that can be attributed to it?
Agree that there has been no major disaster. But there would have been some. Do you know how they were affected?
Did she know? How did she? I never mentioned Project Light Brigade to her. I don't even understand what you mean.
It is very simple. There were no disaster because of the yajna at our home.
But I never performed the yajna. Don't you remember? I refused to have anything to do with it.
It seemed hard to believe that both pictures were different aspects of contemporary human society. Datta was aware of the gulf that separates the rich from the poor, the educated from the illiterate, the privileged from the unprivileged. But this gap between the rational and the superstitious seemed to him far wider, far more sinister. Will human society ever succeed in eliminating it? Datta did not know the answer.